We are going to have a dialogue about any subject. Dialogue implies conversation between two people, people who are concerned about serious things. It is not an intellectual game or idealistic exchange or exchange of mere ideas, but rather it's a conversation, I hope friendly, between us. So, what shall we start with?
I'm a student, confronted with theories and divisive speculations, and my mind is occupied with this during 8 to 10 hours a day. And I have a great passion to live a simple life, a life with beauty among all these complex circumstances. Is that possible?
Right, sir. The questioner says, I don't know if I need to repeat it. Must I? Right, all right. The questioner asks that he is a student dealing with theories, ideas, speculations, and he wants to lead a very simple life, a life of beauty, quietness, and fairly simple. How is this to be managed? Any other question? Please, we'll see. I can't hear, sir, sorry. But if somebody hears it, will you repeat it to me, please?
According to the usual viewpoint in theology and philosophy, suffering is a means to promote man's perfection. As I understood you well, that suffering is not necessary anymore. Could you explain this a bit further?
The noble theories of the philosophies say that suffering is necessary to provide.
Are you saying, sir, many philosophies and teachers say that suffering is necessary? Is that it? All right. That's one question. Another?
Is it possible to look at the psychological and physiological states as one wholeness?
Is it possible to observe the physiological as well as psychological states as one movement? Obviously.
You said the other day that we should keep our discontent alive so that we, that way, would want to alter the world as it is today. Later on in the same talk you said that we should be able to live so that we have no conflicts. I can't quite make, I understand each of the 2 points, but I can't make them into one.
I could hear the first part. I didn't hear the first part of the question.
Oh, first you said that we should keep our discontent alive,
Uh-huh.
so
Our
that we
discontent
would
alive.
want to alter the world as it is today.
She said, one day you said we should keep our discontent alive. The other day you said
no conflict.
without conflict. So you can't see the
To
point.
keep discontent alive without conflict. Is this possible? Or one day you said, be discontented and also live the next talk without effort. How do you bring this about together?
So my question is, why is it so difficult to be totally aware?
Why is it to be completely and totally aware? No.
How can a person who has died through all attachments function in the material world?
How can a human being, unattached totally, is it possible to function in this world? Is that enough?
¿Puedo preguntar en español?
Sì, sì, molto lentamente.
¿Qué significa el sentido de la responsabilidad?
Com'è?
What means responsibility? Sense of responsibility.
What do you mean by responsibility?
¿Qué quieres decir con responsabilidad?
Sì, sì. Now I think that's enough. May we start with these few questions together and go on with them, shall we? One wants to live a simple life, uncomplicated, and yet at the same time a beautiful life. But being a student who is concerned with ideas, speculations, theories, and so on, how is this possible? That's one question. The other is, what is responsibility? What do you mean by that word, responsibility? And the other is, one day you, in one of your talks, you said one must keep this discontent alive, and in another talk, there must be no effort. How is this possible? And how is one, not how, is it possible to be totally and completely aware? Right? Now, can we start with, I think if we could talk over together as a dialogue, what does it mean to be totally aware? And I think we can then ask the question of responsibility, being a student, how to live a life of simplicity amidst the world of theories, ideas, and so on. And the other question, which is conflict and discontent. Can we start? Would you object to that, sir? Would any of the questioners object if we start with what does it mean to be completely and totally aware? Can we start with that? Then I think other questions will be answered through that. According to the dictionary meaning, I prefer to look at the dictionary and see what it means, not translate what I think is awareness or what you think. But according to me, awareness implies sensitivity. To be sensitive to the environment, to all the things, most of the things that are happening in the world, outside, and also to be sensitive, to be aware of what is going on within oneself. within the skin, as it were. That is the to be aware not only to nature, to other human beings, to all the beauty of the world, and the political chaos, the contradictions, the hypocrisy, all that outwardly, and also to be aware inwardly, one's own problems, conflicts, desires, misery, confusion, and so on. So it is a movement of sensitivity to the outer as well as to the inner. That is I think that is the real meaning of being aware. We all agree to that, do we? Please, I'm not laying down the law. I'm just exchanging with you what does it mean to be aware. That is generally understood.
Sir, are you saying that there are two awarenesses, or are you just aware of the outer and the inner?
What's that?
There are two awarenesses. You must be aware of the outside.
No, I'm going into that.
Excuse me one moment. There's a lot of people here speaking a lot of words. You're asking me questions about awareness. You're asking me questions about all the nice and beautiful things. Well, has it changed their life? Has what you said made a radical transformation in their life?
What?
Now that is one thing that I would like to ask these people.
I don't quite...
How many people has actually been changed throughout the years by what you have said?
How many people have been changed by your talks? Bene? Right. How many people have been radically changed by your 50 years and more of talking all over the world? Right, sir?
Ask the people.
Wait. Let us first listen to what he has to say. He says you have talked for about 50 or more years, and has there been any human being, one or two, that are radically changed?
Like yourself, it was a manifestation of all the words that you speak.
Qu'est-ce qu'il dit?
It seems to be that people will speak your word, but that is as far as they will go. You don't say you don't implement your words in action, you don't live.
I don't quite...
Live what you say. Because you cannot live what you say, because you cannot experience your words. You must experience their own words.
I don't quite follow, sir, what you're saying.
Well, what I'm saying is that we try and live according to your words, instead of trying to follow the self.
What?
Sit down, please.
No, I don't quite understand what he's saying.
I understand.
Would you talk a little more quietly, sir?
Well, I'm trying to get the people.
I will answer it, sir. I'll repeat your question. Thank you, sir.
Well, what I'm asking is this. The people come here, there's been a lot of people coming for many years. And it seems that they have not, in their daily life, affected this radical change which you're talking about.
That's what I'm going.
Right. Now, I ask myself, why?
I don't... Then if you answer the question yourself, then...
No, I've not answered the question because I've not arrived at where you're at. The words seem to be particular and peculiar to you, but they have no meaning and relevance to my life, simply because one has got to follow his self, and it seems quite futile asking questions about what awareness is when you don't even know what the meaning of awareness is, when you're not experiencing it.
We are trying to explain, sir, the meaning of that word first, awareness. And with regard to the other question, you have talked for about over 50 years, and has there been any one person who is radically transformed by your words. Right? I'm not. If I may point out, it is not my responsibility to see if anybody is changed or not. It is up to them. It would be an impudent action on my part if I said, have you changed? It is up to each one who listens, or who cares to listen, or who is serious. It's up to them, and not up to me.
I agree.
That's all.
So this shows that the seriousness is not there.
It's up to you, sir, as well as up to every other person. May we go on? That is, we were asking...
Right, thank you very much.
Not at all, sir. We were asking, what is it to be aware? We said according to the dictionary, it has several meanings, but only I'm taking the principal meaning of that word, which is to be conscious, to be in touch, not verbally, but inwardly. To be in touch, to be conscious, to be sensitive to the outer and to the inner. When one is sensitive, there is no division as the outer and the inner. And we are saying, is it possible, that's the question, which is it possible to be aware totally, completely? That it implies, does it not? This is a dialogue. I am not giving a speech. So please share in the question and answers. We are saying, the questioner is saying, is it possible to be completely aware? Now, is there a difference, I'm asking you, between the outer, that is the political, social, economic, and all the things that are happening in the world, the violence, the brutality, the appalling political chicanery, deception, all that is going on out there, is it not also going on inwardly? Is society different? Is society created by us, or society just exists by itself? Do you understand my question? So, if we are related or sensitive to what is happening in the world, with all the violence and so on, who is responsible for it? And to be aware of that responsibility, which means to be sensitive, to be conscious of one's own violence, double talk, say one thing and think something else, wanting complete security in nationalities and so on, so on, so on. So, can one be totally aware of this movement? That's the question. Please answer it. Discuss it, talk it over. Can a human being, again, who is the representative of whole of humanity, which we discuss very clearly, which is obvious, which is factual, can a human being aware of that noise, of the train, the wind among the leaves, the beauty of the mountains, the environment, and also be aware what's going on inwardly? is one, is it possible to be aware? Now I must go a little more deeply. One is aware of this tent, right? Conscious, the shape of it, the structure of it, the length of it, the proportions of it, right? And also one is conscious, one is aware, sensitive to the people sitting around you. The color of their dress, how they look, the color of their shirts, and what the ladies wear, and so on, so on. To be aware of it, conscious of it, sensitive to it. Right? But in that awareness comes the question, I like that blue shirt and I don't like that red shirt. I like that person, I don't like that person for various reasons. Now can you observe, we are asking, can one observe the person sitting next to you, the dress they wear, the color, without choosing? Without saying, I like, I don't like, just to observe. Is that possible? Can you do it? That's fairly simple, isn't it? No? What? Can't you do that?
Maybe when you point it out.
What, sir?
When you point it out, it is possible, but in daily life we don't.
I'm coming to that, sir. You want to go ahead too quickly. You might observe the shirt the speaker is wearing, and you say, well, sorry, that's too much color. I don't like it. It is sewn badly, which is perfectly right, made in India. And, no, please, wait a minute. Things are made very well in India, perfectly, but this happened to be a bad tailor. And you can look at it without any without any condemnation or approval, can't you? Right? That's fairly simple, isn't it?
Why you say that it's very simple?
Com'è?
It's not so simple.
Com'è?
Perché lei dice che è così semplice, per noi non è semplice.
He says it's not simple for us to
Guardare senza giudicare per noi non è semplice.
To look without judging is not possible.
No, it's not possible. It's not simple, as you say.
Com'è?
Non che sia impossibile. Per noi è molto difficile, è quasi
Per lei?
Per me?
Ah, bene.
Scusi se ho parlato a nome di tutti.
Ah, no. The gentleman is saying it is very difficult for us to be aware without judgment, judicare, without judging. And I say, is he speaking for himself or generally, for all the people in the tent? He said, at last, I'm speaking for myself. Now, is that so? Can you not observe, please, this is a discussion, a dialogue, a conversation. Can you observe without judgment, without approval, or just to look? Is that not possible? No? It's not possible? Why? Is it because one is so heavily conditioned to like and to dislike? I'm just asking, I'm not saying you are. I don't like the Russians, or I love the Russians. I don't like this and I don't like that. But to observe, because we'll go into a little deeper afterwards. Can you observe a tree, a mountain, a river, without just to look at it? Not say, I like, I don't like, this is beautiful. You follow? Just to look at something. Is that not possible? Because if you cannot do that outwardly, it becomes much more difficult when you go inwardly. Right? It's fairly easy to observe a car and say, that's not a nice color, or just to look at it. And if one cannot do that, then how can you observe yourself without any condemnatory process? Just to observe what is actually happening. That is to be aware without any choice. I believe I was told the other day, when we use that word, choiceless awareness, that is the essence of religion. Maybe, may not be. I'm just passing it on to you. So we're asking, if one is not sensitive, you can't be sensitive. You say, I don't like that. Or I do like that. This gives me more delight in looking, and that disgusts me. Because if one is not capable to observe without any movement of thought, which is like and dislike, condemning, accepting, how can one observe the extraordinary complexity of one's own existence inwardly? You understand my question?
But you have to put the same question perhaps in another way. You have to ask, there is someone in this tent that can observe in this fashion, in this way? C'è qualcuno qui nella tenda che sa fare questa osservazione di cui io parlo? Lei dovrebbe porre la domanda in questa maniera, e ponendola in questa maniera risponde anche a quel signore.
Ah, bene. Is there, the gentleman says in Italian, is there anyone here in this tent who can so observe without judgment? That will answer that gentleman's question about whether anybody has changed or not. It's up to you. A gentleman says it can be done for a moment. Just for a second or two, you can observe and say, well, observe, just observe. But few seconds later, the whole machinery of thought begins. Right? Come?
Io lo posso fare se vi obbligo. I can like you.
Sì, capito.
With the use of will.
With?
With the use of will. Willpower. Con l'uso della volontà lo può fare.
Ah! Oh gosh, you people. He can do it with will. He can control and observe. I say that's not possible. When you control your like and dislike and observe, you are not observing totally. You are not giving your whole energy to observe. What? I can't understand the difficulty in this at all.
Maybe there is a difficulty between that awareness and thought. There is no frontier.
So, can't you look at this poor man sitting on the platform?
Yes.
Just look at him.
Yes, but thoughts are just coming after a while, so it's why it is difficult. There's no frontier, separation between awareness and thought.
No, sir, we're not going even into that. I say, can't you look at the speaker? It is pink, whatever it is. Look at him, just look. without all the machinery of thought saying, I like, I don't like, he's good, he's clever, just to observe. No, that's yeah.
Sir, there's the fear, sir, if I may speak for myself, that if one does not observe without judging, standards of morality will disappear.
We'll come to that, sir. You're going. We haven't gone to the very, very complex problem of observing, aware inwardly. We are just observing this, listening to. Can you listen to that noise of that train without saying, for God's sakes, I want to listen to you, and therefore resist the train, noise of the train?
Maybe we seek the observer.
Do you mean that it is possible to see, to be aware of all this, not only aware of one thing? Because in the beginning you mentioned the tent, the people, the colors. Did you mean all this in one moment, or different awareness moments?
Sir, the gentleman asked, we haven't even approached his question. We're just exploring the question. Gentleman there asked, what does it mean? Is it possible to be totally aware? He says, I want to be. I see the importance of it, but I can't do it. What does it mean? He's asking that question. And we are exploring the word, not the significance of the whole thing, just the word. I said the word means to be conscious, to know, to be sensitive. And one cannot be sensitive, judge, if there is condemnation, judgment, just to observe. There is a gentleman, Italian gentleman, I have known him for over nearly 60 years. 70? And I look at him, I talk to him, and I've known him for all this. I never once asked him, have you changed? It's up to him. If he does not change, well, it is his misery. It is not my misery.
If you put out 50 years of your life, or 60 years, in order to produce one result, and you have not produced it.
I don't want to produce, sir, you have gone
a step further. You started from school. Now, when you are going into that amount of work, it must be with a specific aim.
Would you kindly
in the air that you want to produce a result.
Would you kindly listen to me? I will answer your question, sir.
And someone who is...
But you're only answering it with words. What about the people? Has it changed the people?
Wait, you've gone back to the question.
Excuse me, Krishnamurti. I'm no follower of yours, but I think I would like to clear the point up to those two gentlemen over there. His aim is not to enlighten you. That is something you have to do for yourself. His aim in life is to keep and maintain the enlightenment of his own head and doing what his heart commands him to do. Hence, he is here.
Sir, I can answer the question for myself. You don't... Would you please listen? Please, I am talking very seriously. Why I am talking? Why I have not deviated for the last 60 years from what I have been saying. I will tell you why. if that interests you. First of all, the speaker doesn't expect anything from anybody. Right? Because he said, look, he said very carefully from the beginning, no authority. He said that 60 years ago. I'm 82 now. 60 years ago he said that, no authority. Therefore, don't follow anybody, including me. You have to be a light to yourself, not light your candle or your fire at the fire or the candle of another, including myself. So you, by listening, if you care to listen, are responsible for yourself, not for me. And I also said, the speaker does not expect anything from anybody, all of you. If you want to drink at the fountain, drink it. And if you don't. It's very simple. If I expected anything from you, I would be disappointed. I would be hurt. I would feel, my God, I've done nothing in my life. But I don't feel that way. I'm very serious. I don't feel that way. I'm talking, and the urge to talk is born out of compassion, without any cause. I carefully explained, compassion has no cause. So, that's why and also, you might ask, a flower on the roadside, why do you have such beauty? Why do you have such perfume? And if the flower was able to talk, it says, look, I'm like that. What are you going to do about it? So let's continue with what we are talking about.
I believe it's possible to be totally aware because I've been experiencing it the last 3 weeks since I heard it from you.
Madam.
But I also believe that we are machines and that every experience is in us like a card.
Jesus, these people.
And I didn't like it. When I'm 30 years old, when I get the spirit in front of me, I don't like it because the card is in my machine and it can't stop.
Madam, we are talking about awareness. Please ask that question. Pardon?
This awareness is if you want the way you would say is to be aware without having any other thoughts.
Oh, for God's sake.
I know I can do it without it because I know I'm doing it now. But before this, I was doing it out of my computer. Everybody has to.
I don't understand your question, madam. I can't hear it. If somebody has understood, will you tell me?
He says we are conditioned to like and dislike things, food, etc.
Yes.
How can we stop this? The computer calls it.
Yes, we are conditioned to like and dislike. Can you help us to, can we talk it over, how to stop this? And also I forgot, when those question arose, why you have schools, there too, we are not expecting anything except to help them to understand life. That's all. If they don't, it's up to them. Let's proceed. We are having a friendly conversation between two people, you and I, or many of us together, which is about, is it possible to be totally aware? We are going to go into that question. It's a very complex question. And if one can go together into it, you will see what is implied in it. But you are refusing. I am saying to be aware implies to be sensitive, to be conscious of the outer as well as the inner. If one is not sensitive to the outer, it becomes much more difficult to be sensitive to the things that are happening inside the skin, as it were. So I began by saying, can you observe something without judgment? That's all. Just to look. Not say, I know your condition. I know it's very... You make it terribly difficult by making it intellectual thing. But to look at something, just look, without all the operation of thought entering into it. If you cannot, then it's impossible to look with clarity, without any judgment about what is happening inside you, which is very, very complex. So I'm just began by pointing out to look at the outer without any judgment. If that is not possible, find out why it is not possible. Not how to be free of the conditioning, but why is it not possible? Find out. It is not possible because your whole education from childhood has been to, say, develop this conditioning of like and dislike, right? I like Italians, I hate the Russians. Right? That's how we operate. Or I hate the person who is speaking the air. So it doesn't matter. So I'm just asking you to kindly to observe what is happening outside. Violence, right? Divisions of religion, political divisions, building up instruments of war, right? This is happening outside. Concentration camps, people who disagree politically are sent to mental hospitals, torture. All this is going on outside. Can you look at it first without identifying yourself with any of them? Right? If you cannot do it, find out why. Is it because you are an Englishman who is so stuck in his conditioning? Or an Indian who is so traditionally bound? Nationality in India didn't exist at all for centuries, millennia. It's only the British and other foreigners brought it in, and they began the national war, conflicts, and all the rest of the nonsense. So, if you are aware of that, let's move inwardly. Right? Now, can you look at yourself without any judgment? I want to live a very simple life. That's one of the questions. But I'm surrounded by ideas, theories, speculations, and that gives me a degree. So follow? And therefore, how am I to live? Simply. So this is one of the problems. Look into it. We are asking, can you look at yourself? Not according to me, or according to Jung, Freud, or professional psychologists, just to look at yourself. As you look at yourself, immediately you say, I am bad, or I am evil, or I am jealous. You follow? The whole machinery of the past, the tradition, the thought begins. But before the thought begins, just have a space, little space, so that you can look without that machinery quickly coming into action. You understand? It seems so simple. What's up?
If everything is important or nothing.
Shall we give importance to everything or to nothing?
What?
Shall we give importance to everything or to nothing?
Portions?
Importance.
Shall we give import to something and not to others? So we haven't come to that yet. You see, we've already started. What is important, what is not important? And just say, look, I'm looking at myself. I haven't come to anything. Look, I'll begin. I want to look at myself. I want to see what I am. Not who am I. What is all this going on in me? I just want to look first. I can only look without distortion if there is no judgment, right? I see that. But I'm being conditioned, having been conditioned so long, society, education, etc., family, tradition says you must judge. I know that. I've been conditioned. I said, I'll hold that in a minute. I'll hold that back. But I just want to look. Right? Are you doing this as we're talking together? Or you're just gone off and... Are we doing this together? Huh?
Yes.
Right. That is, I want to look at myself. I want to see exactly the shape of my face in the mirror. Right? I look at myself in the mirror, the outer. And my face is my face. I can't say, well, I wish I had straighter nose or black, whatever it is. I just look first. Right? Then I say to myself, I wish it were not like that. Right? Why do I say it? Because I think your nose is better than mine. Right? So comparison is born. You understand? Are you following this? Now, can I look without comparison? You understand? My interest is to look, is to observe. And therefore, as my interest is tremendously strong to look, comparison fades away. You understand? Because my whole urge is to observe. Therefore, comparison doesn't exist at that moment. It may come later. I'll deal with it later. But at the moment, my interest is so great that I want to look. That interest pushes aside all comparison. Right? Now, have you got that interest? I'm not saying you must have it. Have you got it? If not, why not? You understand my question? If you haven't got that tremendous interest to know what is happening in the world and what is happening inside you, and you have created the outer, the society, the whole structure is created by human beings, and as you are a human being who is the representative of all humanity, you are responsible for this terrible state. So, I just want to observe.
But if you say, I look at my face, it's a judgment.
What?
Even if you say, I observe my face.
I said, no, my face, your face, X-face. That's a façon de parler. Vous savez, don't say that.
Even if you say a face,
Jesus.
it is a judgment.
So, all right, I want to look at you. I know you are American by your speech, right? Or an Italian. And I don't like American, suppose. I don't say, please don't go on. And I say, oh, he's an American, and turn my head away. Right? But my interest is to look. Whether you call yourself American, your language is American, whether you're vulgar, stupid, that's not my... I want to look. I want to see what you are.
Could you compare that with a photo camera? Just taking a snapshot.
Yes, take a snapshot and you look at it. But wait a minute, can you do the same about yourself? That's what I'm coming to. You refuse to move from... I want to go into this. This is tremendously important. I want to go, as a human being, I say, I want to look at myself. Before I say, who am I, what am I, condemn, judge, evaluate, this is good, I just want to look.
Est-ce que je ne peux pas pour cela faire un mouvement de recul et avoir la sensation de mon corps? To find help in my body.
But you're all making it so complex. It'll become tremendously complex little later. Don't begin with complexity. My body, my mind, if I just look at yourself. God sake.
Est-ce qu'on peut vous poser une question en français?
Comment?
Est-ce qu'on peut vous poser une question en français?
Sûrement.
Vous dites que être éveillé, c'est voir ce qui est, voir les choses comme elles sont. Vous avez dit à maintes reprises que la maison brûle. The house is burning. J'aimerais savoir, et nous sommes quelques-uns à vouloir comprendre ce que vous entendez par la maison brûle.
Voyons.
Première question. Et la deuxième question, s'il faut attendre la transformation radicale pour éteindre le feu, ou il faut agir dès maintenant.
Bien, bien monsieur, j'ai compris. You've understood his question? You say, what do you mean, the first question? Oh my God. We are talking about our follow. I can't. I'll repeat his question. He says, what do you mean the house is burning? Don't you know the house is burning? Your house. The world is your house. The earth is your house. There, the earth is being destroyed. The rivers are being polluted. The air is becoming impossible to breathe. With so many cars, all the rest of it. Some fishes are being destroyed completely. The whales are disappearing. There are wars preparing, whether it's in Egypt or Israel or it doesn't matter, it's part of your house. Are you aware of this? That it's your house, not Israeli and Egypt. Right? Are you aware of it? Sensitive to it? Or you say, well, it's poor chaps, their affair. If you are not aware of it, why aren't you aware of it? This is the house is burning. You understand? So you don't seem to realize what the world is going through. And the second question is.
La deuxième question, c'est s'il faut attendre l'illumination, s'il faut attendre la transformation radicale pour agir, ou il faut agir dès maintenant parce que nous sommes conscients que le monde brûle.
Bien. Must there be complete transformation? Listen to the question. Must there be complete transformation, psychologically, all that we have talked about, before you put out the fire? You understand the question? I see the fire in the world, and the fire inside myself, the misery, the confusion, the idiocy, the pettiness, my arrogance, all the rest of it. Until, the questioner says, until I radically transform myself, it is not possible to put the fire out.
You must become retired till you went through.
But having seen what is transformed.
So listen to the question first, find out what is implied in it, that I cannot do anything till I become perfect. Right? And the house is burning in the meantime. And the house is me. I am being burnt. So I'll wait till I become perfect. Right? See, this is the question that's asked not only by that gentleman, but by everybody, which is, can I teach? Can I start a school? Can I do anything till I'm completely transformed? You see the absurdity of the question? Need I explain it? I'm not being rude to you, sir. But need that question be answered? Do you mean say you wait till you become transformed? Or you see the importance of putting an end to the fire, and that very essential urge to put out the fire is transforming you. You understand my meaning? Right. Now, please let's stick to what. Quelle heure est-il?
Le 11:30.
11:30. Grazie. Let's go into this a little bit, may I? I want to look at myself. I know I am so conditioned that I cannot look at myself properly. Right? So I put that question, wanting to look at myself completely, I leave that. I then go and tackle or investigate, why am I conditioned? Why do I accept it? And not just, well, I'm conditioned, say yes. I am conditioned, I know. Why do I accept it? Do you accept it because it's the easiest way of living? Bene. Dopo 50 anni. So wait a minute, sir. I want to observe, and I see I cannot observe because I'm conditioned, and I've never questioned because I'm afraid I might not be comfortable. So I say, I want to be comfortable. Is that it? That's why I can't look. Right? So why do I want comfort? Where am I to find it? I want it. But where am I to find it? So I find it in my companion. I think I find it. With my wife, with my girl, with a belief. So don't disturb all that. Because my wife, so far, I have found comfort in her. Safe. But one day something is going to crack. So I'm frightened. So you follow how far I have moved away? I want to observe, and I find I am really afraid to observe. Right? Right? Are you following this? So I'm going to understand, go find out, why am I afraid? What am I afraid about? Losing my comfort? Losing my security? Losing my conditioning? It is this conditioning that's creating the misery in the world. Right? So the house is burning. I want to put out that fire, but I don't want to because I'm frightened. Right? Are you doing this? So, in other words, sir, you want to remain mediocre, which means I'm not condemning you, I'm just pointing out. Mediocrity means climbing halfway up the hill. Excellence means going right to the top of it. So most of us would rather remain in our stagnant pools of little conditioning and knowing that very conditioning is destroying the world. Right? So, look how far I've gone into. I want to look, and I find I'm conditioned, and I question why I'm conditioned, because in questioning why I'm conditioned, I find I want comfort. I want the easiest way. The easiest way is to accept.
It seems a contradiction because most people, they also know that the life is not nice.
But though there is contradiction, I accept it. There is contradiction. So I would rather let things alone. Right? Is that what you are all doing? Please investigate. I'm not saying you are doing it.
Sir, when we are now talking about this, seeing myself, we're taking up one part, developing it, going through different things, We see one part connected with the other part.
Now this is a very slow process. We have to talk about it, we verbalize it, and by that we are bringing, let's say, some things up, to our surface consciousness or something. Now, I have understand your message that there is a different way of seeing yourself. Like this thing you said about the mirror. You look at yourself in the mirror, you see the face. But getting a total view of your own consciousness in the same way as you would get a clear picture of your face.
What, sir?
How do you do that? That's the truth.
How do you look at your own consciousness? Is that it?
The same way as you look at your mirror and your face.
Yes, sir. How do you look at your own consciousness, the question asks, as you look at your own face? Right?
How do you, this, okay,
You're a rummy crowd.
If one is in conflict or is experiencing any sort of emotion, fear, sorrow, depression, and I think if one stops for a moment because the feeling is there, it's real, it's physically hurting or mentally hurting, and one says, what exactly am I thinking about at this moment? It is always something in the past that one can never redo or change, or it's something in the future that has not arrived yet. And that in itself, I think, puts one back in balance in the present.
Look, at the end of an hour, 10 minutes, 3 trains have passed. At the end of an hour and 10 minutes or more, that question has not been answered. The gentleman says, please tell me, I'm really anxious to find out how to be totally aware. That has not been answered. And he will go away and say, my God, when that question will be answered? Because you really don't want to find out, do you, what it means to be totally aware. So to be totally aware implies a choiceless observation of the content of your consciousness. The content is the society, the wars, the misery, the confusion, the repetitive, pleasurable actions and so on. The content is there. Can you observe it? Can you observe that you are afraid? Not how to change it, not how to run away from it or transform, just to observe that fear. And to know, to be aware that you are pursuing pleasure. Pleasure of possessing money, pleasure sexually, pleasure of a position, different forms of pleasure. Are you aware of it? Now wait a minute. Are you aware means, are you aware fragment by fragment? Understand? Are you aware of the many parts of the content of consciousness, or are you aware instantly of the whole? The whole is more than the parts. But if you say, I'm going to look at each part, there will be never perception of the whole, which is much more. So which is it what you are doing actually? Examining the parts, fear, jealousy, anxiety, sorrow, the house is burning, I am leftist, centrist, or extreme right or extreme left, politically. What are you aware of the fragments? Or are you aware of the totality of consciousness?
Est-ce que c'est pas mettre de la charrue avant les bœufs si on était capable de faire ça, d'avoir cette vision totale, on ne serait pas là. Enfin, vous partez...
Non, vous n'êtes pas, je sais. I'm big pardon, you know it, I know it. But find out if you are observing the parts, and why are you observing the parts? Because you are conditioned. I look at my life as a Frenchman, as a Dutchman, or and so that's my tradition. I've been brought up in Holland, and I have said I am a Dutchman. And that is my conditioning. Therefore, I always will look past fragmentarily. Just be aware of that. Not how to go beyond it. Moment you become aware of it, you're already out of it. So consciousness, with its fragments, each one of us is aware of the fragments. You understand, sir? The spokes of the wheel is greater than the spokes, right? You understand that? Huh? Oh my God, don't you? The parts, the whole is greater than the parts. That's all. But if I am conditioned holding on to my part, I will never see the whole. If I say I've been born in India, I'm a Brahmin, I'm the traditional, etc., which is a part, and I hold on. So I'll fight for the part, which is simple. That's what we are in America, Russia, you follow? Whereas you see the whole of it, then the parts disappear. Right, sir? Do it, please do it.
Then how do you get the total view?
What?
How do you get the total view?
I'm showing it to you.
No, well, you're not really showing it, you know. We are talking about it.
No, I am not talking. No. All right, sir. I've got your question. I've got. Wait, sir. I'll show it to you.
Jesus. All right. Now, seeing things totally cannot be. It cannot be the result of talking yourself to it, you know. So it's on a different level, and I'm quite asking a very simple question: how to get this total view?
I'm going to, if you listen.
On a different level as talking about it.
If you will kindly listen, sir, I'm pointing out something. First I say, please listen. First I say, the word is not the thing.
That's
right.
Right?
So, what I have described is not the actual, the truth.
No.
Right? So, can you, when you are listening, not be caught in words, but see what the thing that is being described. But that becomes difficult because we have lived in a world of words. So I have been saying from the beginning of every talk, the word is not the thing. The word mountain is not the mountain. I may describe the mountain most eloquently, beautifully, or paint it, but the paint, the picture, the word, the description is not the thing. Therefore, consciousness is the word, the content is the word, and awareness is the word. So, go beyond the word, which is see your own consciousness, its content, your etc., etc. So, if you are merely called by the description, then you will fight with me forever. Comment, madame? No, madam. Look, we human beings are used to being told what to do. We want to be awakened to all this, right? We want to see all of this and go beyond it. And who is going to do it for you? If I see, please listen, sirs, if I see that I have to be a light to myself, right? And that I cannot light this light from another or through another, then I have to look at myself. Look at the content of myself. But I cannot look at the whole as a whole because I'm trained to look partially. So my concern then is, why do I look partially? I look partially because of my education, my tradition, my environment, the society, my wife, my father, they've all been looking at themselves partially. So I say, I refuse to look. I refuse to look how they have told me to look. I said, I don't know. They may be totally wrong. Probably they are. So I want to look. For the first time, to look. So when you look, there is no difference between the observer and the observed. There is only the state of looking.
Krishnamurti, one question please. Do I look partially because of my education and my conditioning, or because of all the things that I've done wrong in this present life of mine and I know it? Like for instance, if I'm buying something for 5 francs and I'm selling it for 25 francs to somebody who needs it, and not a luxury or maybe a food substance. When I do, in other words, when I do immoral things, and I know it. Is it not on this point that I like to make any kind of excuse for myself? My ego can make an excuse for anything, but I do not want to see the real me, which is an ugly, hideous...
Quite right, sir.
Yeah.
So, when you say hideous, ugly, you're already condemning it. For God's sake, do look how we are caught in words. Sir, when you love somebody, I mean love, ordinary, not something extraordinary, for the moment you forget everything, don't you? You may want to hold her hand or want to sleep with her or have her as your companion, or in that moment, there is no problem. We have made all this so terribly intellectual, verbal. We'll continue, if we may, tomorrow morning.